Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be going over sharing my thoughts, giving you guys 3 different looks using the new Natasha Denona Triochrome Palette. I need to make sure that I really try to always say Triochrome because trichrome is just not acceptable and it makes people in the comment section very angry. So this is the Natasha Denona Triochrome Palette, and I'm just going to jump straight into this. This is new for the holidays, and it is a limited edition. And can we talk about this packaging? Oh, I love just watching it shift from the blue to the green, the purple. Open it up, you're getting a large mirror as per usual, and then we have 15 shades, 3 of which are multi-chromes, which are straight down the center, and then the rest of them are mattes. And as you can see, they lean a little bit more on the pastel side, and each row kind of has a theme. Like, so if you look at the top row, that's definitely more green. It's got a little bit of grunginess to it, which I really like. The middle row is a little bit more on the purple side, and then down at the bottom, I had kind of lift it so I could actually see in my mirror. You have a little bit more warmth, but also a little bit more variety. So these two seem to be a little bit more on a theme, whereas down here we have a peach, we have this mustardy yellow, a bone color shade, and this gorgeous mauvey shade, and then in the center the multi-chrome is a purple, which you could have put in the center row as well. There's more of like a bluish purple in this row, but I think that this shade actually complements the bottom row a little bit better. But here are all the shades, and I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the swatches. The first shade is Scrap, described as a cool, dusty army green matte. Androdite, a pastel mint matte. Scarab, a poison green warm gold blue, that is a multi-chrome. Ion, an acid green. Vert, vibrant mustard. Not sure how to pronounce this one, so I'm not going to, but it's described as a pastel lavender. Manganese, a vibrant eggplant. Kinetic, this is a multi-chrome, a color shift of blue, fuchsia, and neutral silver. Redox, dusty lilac. Tungsten, toasted mauve. Vortex, cool ivory. Plutonium, burnt mandarin. Color Flip, the last multi-chrome. Color shifts of pink, nude, and green. Garmin, a peachy taupe. And lastly, Diatonic, vibrant light coral. It is cruelty-free, paraben-free, and made in Italy. I'm sorry, I had to. But as I mentioned, this is a limited edition. What I have not mentioned is that it is $129. Details out of the way, so let's go ahead and get into the 3 eye looks. Zoeva 227 in the shade Vert. I'm going to start off by applying this to the outer corner, and the outer portion of the V, the top of the crease, transition, just everything on this outer corner here. I'm going to start bringing that into the crease towards the front. I have built this shade up just a little bit, but I'm happy with the opacity of it, given that it's such a light shade. I don't know how this would apply to a deeper complexion though. I don't know if it would show up. We might have to use a lighter base. REPHR number 1 in the shade Ion. I want to see if this does anything. Oh yeah, that brightens it up. Just going to place that right on the edge of the last shade I put down. Back in with the Zoeva 227 in the shade Scrap. Deepening up the outer corner. Going into the crease. Just slowly blending. So I want to smoke out this outer corner. and then bringing the excess inward. REPHR number 21 and Androdite, placing this right at the brow arch. Same brush, and the shade is Scarab. I am applying this dry to the lid. Front portion first, and then moving right on over. Same shade. I'm going to take a little bit of that and put it into the crease, just so that I don't have a really harsh line. I'm not going to bring this up very far. I just want to soften the edge. Taking Scarab wet using a Bristles Beauty EO5 PS, or a pencil brush. And I'm just taking that right along the lower lash line. I'm going back in with Androdite on a Bristles Beauty P06 RF. I'm going to pop that right on the inner corner before moving on to the other eye. REPHR number 1 in the shade Tungsten. Applying this to the outer corner. Also going to be applying it to the inner corner, so I'm just going to go back and forth right now. Start blending upward. Going back in, building up, and blending out. One thing I can say so far are that these shades, they seem to be applying and blending out well. Blending up and kind of out, you'll see this little spotlight left in the center, and how it kind of goes this way instead of straight up. It kind of makes this curve just to follow the arch of my brow. First shade in the second row on our REPHR number 14. I am going to go right around the edges of the last shade we laid down. Sticking with the same brush, now I'm going to grab the shade right beside it. I'm going to add a little bit of depth right on this outer corner. Again, blending upward. And I'm going to be putting it on the inner corner as well. A little bit of that back and forth motion again. Kinetic on our REPHR number 21. I just did all of this work with the anticipation of putting a multi-chrome on the center of the lid, and then going in the center with another metallic, and I completely forgot that this palette only has the 3 multi-chromes and no metallics other than the multi-chromes. So I'm gonna have to improvise. I'll probably just use one of the lighter shades. I'm not really seeing a shift with this one. I see it with this shade. I'm not sure about this one. Well, this is a pretty shade. I don't know that I would call it a multi-chrome. I would probably call it a duochrome. At least on the eye. I haven't even swatched these yet. But I mean, I'm just not getting that shift that I like to see out of a multi-chrome. I'm going to go ahead and use that same shade on a REPHR number 3 wet. I'm going to put it right along the lower lash line. Kind of want to see if using it wet, maybe it has a little bit more shift to it. Going in with the first shade again on a Bristles Beauty P06 RF. I am going to kind of stamp this down the center. and then blend. Same brush and the shade Vortex. And this is the shade I will use to continue that little spotlight. I'm not going to add liner or anything just because I'm about to go wash off my face, but here are the two finished looks. For the next eye look, I'm starting off with Diatonic on a Wangas number 18. I'm going to place this on the outer corner and blend upward on this outer portion of my eye, grabbing a bit more, again starting down low and then working upward. Slowly but surely going further and further up as less product is on my brush. REPHR number 14 in the shade Plutonium. I am going to take this on the front portion of my crease and blow it upward. Blend it. Just blow it up. Oh goodness. I'm blending it into that last peachy shade. I really like these two combined. It's really pretty. Next up, I'm taking Garmin, again on the same brush. I want to add some depth to the outer corner and into the outer crease. Small circular motions to blend it upward. I'm going to go in with the shade Vortex on a REPHR number 21. I'm just going to lightly apply this right at the brow arch. Next up, I'm going with the shade Color Flip on the same brush, applying it to my lid. Wangas number 19, second shade in the middle row. I'm going to pop this right on the outer corner, as well as up into the crease. I wish there had been a lighter shade that had reflection for the lid. So this whole row, with the exception of the shade that I'm using right now, it's pretty much lighter than the Duo or the multi-chrome. I'm gonna mess that up all over and over. So I really would have liked to see this eye with a softer shade on the lid, but it wasn't an option unless I wanted to stay all matte, which I do like that look, and it's definitely something I will want to do with this palette. However, I also want to point out some of its limitations. REPHR number 3 in the shade Garmin. I am applying this right along the lower lash line. And then I'm going to go finish off the look with mascara and liner. You guys, I have a lot of opinions on this palette, and they kind of go back and forth, so bear with me. I'm going to try to spit out how I am feeling in the most concise way possible. Let's start off with a pro, and that is definitely the packaging. I would be lying through my teeth if I did not say I love this packaging. I am a little partial to multi-chrome things in general, or triochrome. See, I'm already messing it up. But I just love this, and it kind of reminds me of that oil slick like this right here, and I'm drinking out of an iridescent Starbucks cup. I love this type of thing. So of course this is going to draw me in. But let's open it up and talk about what's on the inside, what you guys actually truly care about. All of the mattes that I used, I will say, performed well. I feel like they built up and they blended out really nicely. I did get fallout with this palette, but as I always say, it just wipes away for me. If you don't like that, just do your makeup afterwards. But it just wasn't an issue for me because it didn't adhere. If it adheres to my cheeks, we got problems. Otherwise, I just don't care. The top row, it's my favorite. I think it is so pretty. I love how bright these greens are. I really love this one. I mean, it's pretty stinking vibrant, and I really love that. My only concern with these shades is that they can be a little light. So the pictures that you're seeing online of this palette, they're pretty accurate. I really thought that I was going to get this in my hands and it was going to be so much darker than the picture showed online, but it's not. It's not. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you do have to keep that in mind, that there's a whole lot of pastel shades in here. And if you don't like pastels, you're not going to like this palette. Just point blank period, you're not going to like this palette. I thought I was going to have a lot of difficulty with there being so many light shades and not a lot of depth, but it honestly doesn't bother me that much. I feel like I have the right shades where I need them to add that depth. This shade right here will add the depth for me, as well as this one. And then I can add subtle depth with shades like this one and this one, but that's on my skin tone. For somebody with a deeper complexion, it's going to be harder to create that depth with anything other than these two. So it's just something to keep in mind. Think about what kind of shades and kind of depth that you like out of your looks before you opt for this palette. Another thing is, I mentioned it in this look right here. I really wish that there were other options other than just the multi-chromes. I would have rather this palette had at least like 3 other options for some type of sheen, because I feel like you really limit yourself when you have all of these mattes and then these triochromes down the center, that you have nothing that's a little bit lighter. So for this look right here, if I wanted to do something shiny on the lids, but I didn't want it to be this deep, I don't have anything. I don't have anything in here that is going to do that other than mattes. And I do think this is going to create some beautiful looks. I love this type of look right here, but instead of having the multi-chrome on the lid, having one of these really, really light pastel shades, I think it is so flattering. But I do wish that there were a few shades in here that had some texture. It doesn't even have to be a super high shine. It could be a satin, it could be anything. But I really do long to have other textures in this palette. And speaking of textures, these down the center, these triochromes, no. I would have to say that the only one I really feel is truly a triochrome, and it's still kind of pushing it, is Scarab. These two down here are just duochromes, if you ask me, and I gotta tell you that this shade right here, I had done my entire look. I finished everything. I was gonna go put on my mascara, and I realized, I was like, it looks to me that it has faded, and I don't know if you guys can see that at all, but it looked like it had faded a little bit. So I went in with this shade and I used it wet and just kind of tapped over, and it brought back that vibrancy, but I did lose a little bit of it again. And I gotta tell you that as I'm moving my eyes around, I'm not seeing that shift. If I get up really close, I can see a little bit, but it's just not, it is not something that anybody is going to notice. It's truly not. The only one that I feel like anyone's going to be like, oh, that's pretty, that's different, is this top shade right here. So if you're looking for true multi-chromes, triochromes, whatever you want to call them, I don't think this palette is it. But with that being said, I actually like this palette more than I thought I was going to. So this is where the conflict comes in, because I don't feel like it is a true multi-chrome palette. I wish that it had more textures in there. On the flip side though, I like this palette. I like the colors. I like the softness of it. I wasn't sure at first, but I don't know, playing with it, I had a lot of fun. And this is a palette that I can see myself reaching for when I want to have like a little bit of a playful look. This isn't something I'm going to grab for when I want an everyday look, unless I grab like a one and done type of shadow, which let me just point those out. This shade, and this shade would be my go-tos for just an all-over shade, one and done type of look. But this isn't something I'm going to grab for daily use. And it's definitely not the palette I'm going to grab for if I want to have true multi-trio chromes. It's just not, but I do like the palette. I want to show you guys some comparisons to other multi-chromes and just let you guys be the judge for yourself. Here we have Scarab, which I really do see the flip. There's gold, there's green, there's blue, and I see it's beautiful. It's a really beautiful shade, but it seems to be like the easy one that brands are able to create, or this green one. I just see it a lot. And here is Kinetic. This is, I mean, it's really, I don't even know if I can really call it, yeah, it's a duochrome, because when I put my hand down, I can see the slight difference, but it's not a triochrome. There's not three different, it's just, it does not have enough shift, in my opinion, to be called that. And then lastly, Color Flip, which this one, definitely on my finger, I can see the different shades, but I also can kind of see why this has faded. If I'm looking at this, this looks a little bit more dull, like the actual formula. It looks a little bit more dull than other things. And I'm just gonna pop out some Sydney Grace. I have to do it. This one right here is Beauregard from Sydney Grace. And I am gonna put this, like, do you see that shine? Do you see that? And let me just drag this down. It's a whole different formula, and it's beautiful. It is so beautiful. It just has so much more shine to it. I can see the blue, the purple, that little bit of like cranberry in there. It's so pretty. Where it just, it blows these two out of the water. Just absolutely out of the water. This one is Twisted Shifter. Let's see if you guys can see. Again, it's just that, that formula. So nice. And then this one is Chameleonaire. I mean, come on now. Come on. I mean, these would pair really nicely together, but you just can't. The finish of these compared to this, I think you guys can see how much more vibrant these are. These look like they are cream shadows, and they are not. This is what they look like. They're in my little Tarte palette, and you guys can see the flip. Whenever I flip my palette up and down, it's such a good formula. Pat McGrath Divine Rose 2, you can see the shift in this. I mean, you really don't even have to point that out. It's so obvious. And I'm just gonna put that one on my thumb. See, can you guys see that? It's just better. It's better. It's pretty. It's better. So this one or this one. I mean, come on now. Duh. But then if you're a really big Natasha Denona fan and you want to stick with Natasha, but you're not super impressed by those, or maybe you just want to add a little bit more to that palette, these beauties right here are so good. These are the Chromium Liquid Eyeshadows, and I'm just going to quickly swatch these on my hand. These are amazing. This is Infra Nude, my favorite. I have got stuff all over me. Infra Nude. Here is Scarab again. Oh, see that? Oh, it's so pretty. It is so pretty. One day I'm going to come out with better descriptive words. I'm going to shock you guys. This one is Dog Bane, like right in the crease of my hand. There you go. Ultraviolet. And the last one is Dragonfly. If you're just looking for some multi-chromes and you love Natasha, I would say that this is the better route to go, especially if you're not into the pastel shades and you want to just kind of pair it with your own thing that you've already got. These are a really great option. And then I've got one more. This one was recently sent to me from Linda Hallberg Cosmetics, and it is called Multi-Chrome, and it's the liquid eyeshadow, the Interstellar. This one is so much fun. Just on the outside, you can see all the flip. It's so pretty. I'm going to put this one just right beside over here. And then again, the shift. I feel like I need to put it down my finger. I did that already in a video, but you know, there you go. So yeah, there's all of those. I'm gonna wipe off my hand now. The last thing I want to show you guys is my palette, and the only reason why I'm showing this to you, okay, I feel really weird about doing this, is because I had so many people ask about it and then so many people tagging me. I just want to let you guys know that these are not the same, and I don't have any multi-chromes in my palette with Sydney Grace, the Tiny Marvels. I do have duochrome, but no multi-chromes. And I'll show you guys the swatches side by side, but I'm going to put that at the end of the video. I just want to show you these side by side. But they're, oh, I just stuck my fingers all in my palette. They aren't the same. Mine's definitely deeper. And I mean, other than you're seeing the green and the purple or whatever, but they're just not the same. And like I said, I will put them side by side so you guys can see the swatches. My final thoughts for the Triochrome. Yes, I did just mess up and say trichrome, but I fixed it. I think this is a pretty palette. I like it more than I thought I was going to. Initially, I was really excited, and then I lost some excitement because I thought it was a little light. But then using it, I got excited about it again. I am a little disappointed with the Triochromes, and especially with that being the main factor. I feel like they should have been better, or they should have been more, or added, again, a few more shades with some type of texture other than matte. That's just my 2 cents though. And then the other thing I would say is that this would have been better as a $65 palette instead of the $129. And I'm going to show you one of the $65 palettes, this one right here, which is so funny to me. This one's a mini. It's the Glam Palette, $65. And as you can see, the shades are smaller. So you're getting much more product in this one. But these aren't everyday shades, and these are. I think this one should have been smaller. Not necessarily this one has to be bigger. I like the price point. And I know I'm not going to go through this palette, but mainly just to show that this one could have been smaller as well. Anywho, beauties, that is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the looks and hearing my thoughts. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.